Hey, how's it going? It's Eamon here again from Urban. Just going to take a look through some of the stories that you may have missed or some that you may have already heard that have cropped up in my Twitter timeline and in my RSS feeds and stuff like that over the last few days. Once again, a little bit of a shameless plug for who I am. So let's start. Facebook games are evil. This is in today's Telegraph. So Jonathan Blow, who created a game called Braid, which you can get in the Mac App Store, which is actually quite a good game, is talking about Facebook games and how they use people to actually manipulate their friends. His point being that if you play games like Counter-Strike or World of Warcraft or even Call of Duty or FIFA or anything on Xbox Live or any gaming network, the purpose of those games is to meet new people and clans and guilds as they talk about here. Whereas those embedded within social networks require you to exploit people that you already know. Obviously, everyone will be familiar with Farmville and Cityville and all of those various games that are going on at the moment and are making obviously Zynga so much money. But it'll be interesting to see if more collaborative games start to come into play on Facebook. He does make the point, these games do look like they're light and friendly and all nice, but they're maybe not entirely that way. Whether or not you agree with that, I'm not so sure. Application news on the next web today. Warner Brothers now bypassing iTunes location restrictions and actually selling movies as apps. And this is really, really interesting because effectively, if you look here at the Inception app edition, what they're doing is selling almost a DVD type of experience within an application. You can also stream the movies over 3G, which I suppose given what's happening with broadband in Canada and the kind of download caps that you have in the UK and elsewhere around the world, streaming Inception in high definition over 3D might not be the best way to go. But if you look what you get with the movie, you get never before released tracks from the soundtrack. You get concept art, production stills, behind the scenes. So effectively, exactly the same experience that you would get from the actual movie on a DVD. This is obviously screenshots from the free version. You can then upgrade to the full version available for iPhone and an iPad. And be interesting. I mean, Warner's are the first to do it. I suspect there will be an awful lot more people doing it over the next while. The App Store subscription model, we touched on it a little bit yesterday. Here's someone talking about, what's this going to mean for people who are actually building apps and who are involved in experience design and user experience. If you're going to try and sell a subscription now, it means that your demo experience is going to have to be brilliant because otherwise people aren't going to sign up for it. And well worth taking a look at the adaptivepath.com blog. There's some really, really interesting stuff on it. But what they're talking about is, design services, not apps, loyalty being the key metric for improving experiences, how engagement drives that in. So subscribers pay you back in the time that they put into the service and how you make it all work together. So it should be an experience, not just a payment plan. But an interesting read in terms of people who are building apps or subscription model businesses on the App Store. Staying with the App Store, the New York Department of Health has put together this GPS-based application, which will allow you to find nearest venues that distribute free condoms. This is obviously a scheme that they have in place in New York to allow you to find free condoms. You launch this app, it'll tell you what are the 5 nearest places to you. Quite a nice little idea, very similar to an app that I must admit I found when researching one of the first ideas that we had for Urban. We had an idea called Urban Shitter, which was, as the name suggests, a way to find clean, nice, usable bathrooms in your locale. The guys from Sitter Squat obviously had already done this, and there's one or two other examples of similar websites that allow you to find facilities and rate them in your locality. And Sitter Squat did a good deal with Charmin toilet paper last year, a sponsorship deal to generate some revenue. So this is the website. There's obviously an app that goes along with that. Staying with the location-based services and what happens before you go to the bathroom, well, you have to eat. So lovefre.sh is getting quite a bit of publicity, Geekshri on the next web, a few other places as well now over the last few days. It's a really nice idea which allows you to connect with local producers. Let's take a look here at their iTunes page. So you open the application, it finds places near you and list of different kind of local producers, whether it's fruit and veg stores or whether it is booze retailers or anyone. You can find out a little bit more information, get a map to where they are. You can get tag it, take photographs. The actual producer themselves can add video content and a whole bunch of different things too. But a really, really nice idea, and ties in, I guess, a lot with what people are thinking now about food miles and trying to eat more locally sourced food and trying to be, maybe a little bit healthier here and there. Staying with the subject of food, a similar application that I wrote about on the Urban blog a while ago is Boscoy. And anyone who's a fan of food or who is a regular watcher of any of the kind of foodie TV programs will be aware of a guy called Rene Redzepi in a restaurant called Noma in Denmark, which is all about foraged foods and food that they find in the kind of forests and ponds and streams and lakes and green areas around the restaurant. And Boscoy is similar to this. So basically, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's an open source mobile app that allows you to explore and map the edible landscape wherever you are. So basically, you can click into any of these areas and you can see, okay, you want to find fruit near where you are, different types of fruit, all edible. So you can go back if you wanted to find a specific type of reed, roots or tubers. If you want to, find anything at all, you can go into this location and find it. Obviously, yeah, you should probably ask permission if you're not entirely sure whether you can go in and pick these or not. There was a lot of controversy in London recently where Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, a celebrity chef, have been encouraging people to forage their own mushrooms, and it led to, I guess, what you can call over-foraging, if such a phrase exists. But Bosco is a really nice example. Working in the Netherlands at the moment, but it's an open source app, so I'm sure it will be working in a whole bunch of different places before too long. Twitter, what are they saying to advertisers? Obviously, they're looking to grow their revenue this year. Well, this is from Business Insider, a leaked pitch to advertisers, talking to them about how to actually advertise, how to use promoted tweets, how to use promoted accounts, and various different things like this. Worth taking a look at if you're involved in marketing or advertising, or if you're just curious about how Twitter plans to make money. There's some good advice in there as well in terms of actually boosting your own follower count if you haven't really thought about that before. Guidelines for how to actually write a tweet. This will be of less interest to people who don't use promoted tweets, but it shows you various different things. Why do people ignore you? What are best practices? So again, well worth having a look at. Social Media Week, Global State of Social Media Study, available on SlideShare, and We Are Social. If you subscribe to their email list, sent this out to a bunch of people yesterday. But some interesting findings in here. I mean, a massive amount of surveys that have been done. Through 23 countries, 71,000 surveys. So if you look at in terms of where social media is at, I mean, this pretty clearly shows that it has reached mass maturity. 70% of people involved in social media. The increasing shift towards real-time microblogging, i.e. Twitter and services like that. People managing their social network, writing a news story, whether that's for a community page or on a Facebook notes page or on their blog. Forums and chat rooms going down a little bit, and I guess the kind of flashbang popularity of chat roulette would go some way towards explaining that, and also to move, say, away from fora like this to new services like Quora or Stack Overflow or any of the kind of other Stack Overflow subsidiaries that are out there, or any of the other services that use similar services. But again, well worth having a look, and also very wide-ranging kind of information about different parts of the world, and what people are doing, why people are doing it. In terms of where Facebook is dominant, astronomical figures obviously here in Malaysia. Tiny figures then if you look at Japan, China. Big markets like that where you've obviously got huge existing social networks in place. So well worth having a look at, again, just for people who are interested in digital media. Not too much longer to go now. Social media still, again, a little bit about how social media is making companies rethink recruiting. As someone who used to lecture students, I always used to tell them to be very wary of what they put in their online profiles. And this is going back to when their online profiles were on sites like Bebo and Friendster and MySpace. With tools like your open book, or if you don't manage your profile properly, people can find out quite a lot of information about you from your Facebook page or your Twitter page or your LinkedIn profile. So worth thinking about this, because they're now talking about how recruiters use these media, and whether it's LinkedIn Answers or Quora or different things like that, people are actually out there actively searching out interesting people. And if you see here, talking about question and answer services, 27% saying they're open to giving them a shot. Well, you should be giving them a shot if you're looking for a job, certainly in the technology sector. 22.35% saying they've answered questions to establish themselves as an expert in this field. Particularly if you were looking for a job, say in Silicon Valley, in a specific area, you can very quickly establish yourself as an expert on Quora by going on and answering a bunch of questions there. It's still relatively early stages, but it's worth thinking about how you can use social media, but also think about how people can use social media to find out more about you. And it's not always information that you want them to find out. Finally, for today, LLB, I should say, LLB. This RFID trial is actually really interesting. If anyone remembers the movie Minority Report, the scene where they walk through the mall, we'll look at it in a minute, and all these advertisements are being pushed at people based on their personal preferences or who they are. Now boots in LL Bean and a whole bunch of other products will have an RFID tag on them. This is really interesting. So when you pick them up, it detects what product you're picking them up at. It calculates the speed of its ascent. So if you pick it up really quickly and look at it, they obviously clue in that, okay, maybe you're interested or maybe you're not interested. Maybe if you hold it for longer and look at it in a more kind of detailed way, you're more interested in if you kind of pick it up, look at the price and immediately put it back down. So if you're interested, a nearby display unit is going to start running video ads for these boots. This is going to be one that people are going to talk about for quite some time, because it does feel ever so slightly intrusive. Let's look at the scene in Minority Report. So this is a mall scene where they're walking through. Tom Cruise character walks through a mall, and advertisements are pushed towards him based on his name, and they ask him, "Oh, have you thought about buying a new watch, or you need these new shoes?" There was a similar scene in iRobot, the movie with Will Smith. I'm not saying this is necessarily what's going to happen, but you see they're scanning his eyes there to tell him what or to find out who he is so they can serve ads to him. I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but it's possible that is going to happen at some point in the not too distant future. And LLB, and it would appear, are going to be at the forefront of all of that. So that's it for today. Hopefully I'll be back with you again before too long with some more stories and some more musings on things that I've found online. In the interim, if you feel like leaving a comment on the video or finding me on Twitter or anywhere else, you can find all the details on our YouTube page. So long for now, and thanks for watching.